Really? GA gets Vietnam back. I think that's enough of a reward. Yep. But now I have some serious rebuilding to do, seeing as I'm so low. Status: the Germans on the Commission. Apparently dissatisfied with the current status quo, the AOG has demanded a reshuffle of the Eastern Resources Commission, arguing that German interests are not adequately represented by the Commission. By this, they presumably mean that they do not have full control of the board, and want to rectify this. While it is a brazen grab for power, without AOG backing, the Commission itself is almost functionally useless. Allow a German minority or acquiesce, but try to curtail their influence. I think at this point, we need to start concerning ourselves more with Chinese interests. So what do you think? Should we give in to this blatant abuse of German interests, or maintain an even footing between the two? I think that this is another good opportunity to do a poll, so this is going to be a good we're going to do that. New poll. How much should the Germans control? They clearly need more. They have enough. And once again, this is going to be an immensely fair and even vote, in the way that if you are paying for a subscription or have a Twitch Prime sub, then your votes will count for double. So if you want your votes to count for double, you need to become a subscriber before voting. Have at it. And let's see what you think about this one as well. Vote, vote, vote! Did I miss Sindrin's gift sub? Oh, I did! Thank you very much, Sindrin. Gifting to I Hate Chelly. I Hate Chelly, welcome to the Maudlings. Congratulations on the subscription courtesy of Sindrin. The vote is pretty one-sided, yeah. 84% to 85% to 15. It's pretty one-sided. But I'm going to wait. I mean, you never know. There could be a massive reshuffle if people subscribed and then use their double votes to count for more, to get more votes for the Germans. Or maybe the Germans will come along and buy some of those votes, because this would, after all, just be good business. You've won 2 Vietnam Wars now. That means you're twice as good as the American. More than twice as good as the Americans. I don't want to say anything, but that's my Dutch blood coming through right there. We must support the liberal markets. Vote German. Allow the Germans in. They won't do any harm. The Germans are already in. This is them expanding. Like, I'm very much open for open business, but I'm not going to do business if it's helping one side or the other. We've already established we're anti-monopolist. Yes, top of the Steam chat. Steam chat. Stream chat. Twitch chat. If this had been a straw poll, it would have been 50-50. Well, 86% to 14, and the timer is about to run out. Not only better than the Americans, but also better than the French. Okay, 85%. Saying they have enough control, so we're going to acquiesce but curtail their influence. We'll pay the political power. Oh, and we can now also get support. I think I want to wait until we can afford both, so we're going to get 70 political power, and then we shall do so. We also need to think about where we're going next. I think it makes the most sense to keep trying to gobble up as much of China as we can before facing against Vientiane. Because the problem with Vientiane is they are guaranteed by Japan. So if we go after them, we fight Japan as well at the same time. And I don't think my one heavy cruiser is quite up for that yet. So we may actually have a bit more now. Oh, yeah, we have 2. Huzzah! Doubling in naval power. Especially potent, considering they have absolutely 0 screens. Let's... What are we going to use as our primary port? Guangzhou? It is a level 5. It's also a bit further away from the Chinese. Wuji. Yeah, I think we're going to use Guangzhou. And then when you arrive, we'll set you to training. And I'm going to set any new ships to join them. I think I might buy some more aluminium as well. We definitely use it. Alright, you head out and train. You lot are going to need training. You are definitely going to need training, and so are you. You guys should be just fine. Mostly, though, we just need to wait for new equipment to arrive. People on mobile can't see the chat polls unless you post the pop-out link. How do you do a pop-out link? Ah. Okay. Now I know. Thanks, Mitch. Did not know that. Peace deal has been signed between the Pacific States of America and the American Union State. Deal with the devil between these two? That would be really good for the PSA. Because now their border is no longer threatened. And the fighting is only between these two. Like, they just won't take any more losses. Manpower losses, maybe. With their forces hard-pressed by the United States, representatives of both the PSA and the AUS have agreed to a temporary truce, lest the Federals roll over them both and win the American Civil War. Interesting. Am I producing tactical bombers? Because he had 50 in storage. I am not. I probably stole them from one of the peace deals. Same with the light tanks. I don't have any of those. And the anti-tanks and the motor... Ooh, 800 motorized. That would be interesting to use. I'll change you into motorized. I can't. I don't even know what a motorized is. What's a car? It's like a really noisy horse. What happened to Russia? Transomer declared war on Russia while Russia was fighting the Soviets. Transomer, supported by Japan, pushed all the way to the Urals, all the way over to here. Meanwhile, Russia beat the Soviets, turned around, and then started smashing them back again. This war, despite how much land the Russian Republic has taken, is currently in the Russian Empire's favour. AUS right now is basically Texas and a bunch of emptiness. Well, the nice thing about the emptiness is there's loads of resources up here. That 200 steel, for example, is huge. Mashriki Kingdom has capitulated. The Mashriki Kingdom has gone into exile. 5 times? 6 times? Eastern Resource Commission. Facilitates German prospecting, which is more resource gain, or more factory output. I think we want more factory output, frankly. Gambling, prostitution, and opium are all morally reprehensible. However, they are also extremely valuable sources of income. While we do not wish to indulge in it ourselves, these vices are too valuable to prohibit entirely. While we do not wish to make it probably known that we'll be tolerating these vices, we can still implement certain taxes if those who wish to exploit these vices wish us to look the other way. It's just good business. Yeah, German East Asia is in Friesland. Whoa! Switzerland capitulated. To the Socialist Republic of Italy, which doesn't seem to exist anymore. This is all Sardinia. So by the simple fact that they held on to Turin, they were able to knock Switzerland out the war, thereby relieving a lot of the pressure on France. Though probably a bit late for France. I'm a bit surprised that the French Republic has not capitalized on that, though. Actually, very surprised that they haven't. Ah, and I can afford these now. Civilian military support. And we're only 47 experience away from finishing off the army reforms, which would be rather nice. Alright, we have another 3 factories. Oh, right, yeah, of course, because of the military support. I feel like it's going to be more artillery, because we're overcoming the gun deficit way faster. Let's do that. We're going to need another tungsten. That can certainly be arranged. Am I selling all of the steel? No. I'm selling some of the aluminium, none of the tungsten, most of the steel, none of the chromium. I'm also having to import a lot of oil to keep my air force in the skies. So where is this right now? St. Louis is the border, as is Mobile. And Madison. Well, St. Louis and Mobile are both AUS right now. Madison is USA. Entente is weak, they lost the Entente is weak, they lost India, true. Oh yeah, the Civil War. I'm actually kind of surprised the Agrarian Republic's still alive. They are woefully outgunned. They do have a big army, though. The AOG requests renegotiation of the German rights. With the continued success of the Eastern Resources Commission, the AOG has once again called for an elevation of the German interest in the region. While German citizens and businesses already receive ample privileges, the AOG has asked that we elevate these rights in perpetuity to solidify the successful Sino-German relationship. The situation as it stands is fine or entirely reasonable. Nah, we're good. Although that does mean that I lose a lot of political power. How much manpower does the US have? Lots. The US never runs out of that. 1 million. AUS has 1 million. PSA is the only one who may run out. Yep. Decryption. Stun. January 42. You know what that means? More computing. And you lot are as close to being done as you're going to be.
是的，长官。
Actually, no, we'll just add you to this army and just set you to train.
准备完毕，长官。
Come on. There we go. You apparently don't need to train. Not really. You guys do, although that's going to be at different rates, and then you definitely do. Alright, speed 5 this again. As I think about where I want to go next, though, it's almost certainly going to be Chongqing. We don't have issues with German investment and even influence in China, but there are limits. We must retain our sovereignty. It's just good business. It's not so much about sovereignty, it's... The best way to have good business is to have business on an equal footing. And if you give them too many privileges, then that defeats the competition, which defeats business. Because then the businesses get lazy. Facilitate German prospecting. With our interior more open to German investments, we should aid local governments in facilitating German efforts to prospect for additional resources. Especially our poorer inner provinces would be greatly benefited by the exploitation of additional resources. See, this type of thing is fine. We want to help you help us. We don't want to help you take over us. We don't have motorized divisions, but we do have some of the most advanced computers in the world. All the better to play video games with. Who needs to actually go somewhere when you can pretend you go there in a virtual world and pretend you take over it too. I feel like I could have formatted that better. Who needs to actually go somewhere if you can visit that same place without leaving the comfort of your own living room and conquer them too? There you go. Okay, 42. So we could get the Hanyang Type 35s. Considering how reliant we are on infantry, I would say that's probably a good idea. I would also suggest that we need to do some artillery research. Oh, cheese got level up. Yes, you do. You are definitely a defensive kind of character. Now, did you guys get any... Aha! Logistics wizard. See, that would have been really helpful. And I feel like I want to give you thorough planner as well for more max planning. Good. Meanwhile, Deng still doesn't have Trickster. Nor does he have Artillery Specialist, although he's well on the way. And Gian... Hang on. We need Zheng back. He's no longer wounded. And Zheng doesn't have anything else to add. And Mr. Mountaineer. Nothing. %, towards getting Mountaineer trait, which is good. Facilitate German prospecting. Done. Inland development zones. Plus 7.5 factory output. If we want to facilitate interior development in a way that does not impact China too negatively, we should introduce special inland development zones. These will be unburdened by local regulations and other measures local governments might think up to impede development. By concentrating the foreign presence in such a way, we can more easily protect them as well. Fine. Next, upgrade artillery as much as possible. Yeah, we definitely need to do more. And there it is. Coming to France has gone, and the PSA has just declared war on the AUS. Coming to France has capitulated. The Communard government has gone into exile, and the main forces have capitulated. So how did this line move? Mobile is still on their side. So Lewis is still on their side. What was the other one? Madison. Lines haven't moved at all. The PSA just backstabbed the AUS. Because what's happened here is the PSA probably did not have military access, so moved none of their troops away. AUS have got, okay, we're not at war with the Pacific States anymore. So we'll have moved all of their troops to the American front. And now the PSA is going, ha-ha! So one, there's going to be a bunch of gaps in the line against the USA, so the AUS is going to lose some land here. And the PSA is just gone, free real estate. See, they're doing it right now. Another factory. Excellent. I think that I would like more artillery. Although eventually we will be cutting back on the amount of artillery because we are currently using too much, simply so that we can get the artillerists' ability. Ennis, thank you very much for the follow, and Lucky Luke, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Why visit a country when you can take it? Exactly! How's the 8 province fleet doing? Oh yeah, that's true, we have more than 8. We now have Yunnan, and Hunan was already ours. So Yunnan is the only acquisition, so we're now the League of 9 provinces. We are up to... where do I park them? Oh, they're training. 3. And it will be good until we have 8 ships, 8 heavies. So more of those heavy ships that we can build now, the better. The AI abusing the AI is lolsy. Yeah, it kind of is. They still lose the long war with their 0 manpower. If they can take Texas, they'll have enough. I mean, I suspect that part of it's just going to be mobilization. Like, they are recruiting more. I'm kind of curious to see how much manpower these places have. 480, 570, 200, 600, 600, 500, 1 million, 1.8, 3. Wow, Southern California is really sparsely inhabited. I did not realize that. Yeah, see, Texas would be the key. If they can take Texas and maybe Oklahoma. It really depends who this goes to. There's a lot of industry here, there's a lot of resources here, which they can then sell for more industry. And, of course, the manpower. Yeah, this is a great comeback from the United States. Kind of the same as the Ottomans, who are back at the Suez again. I want to do that. So, we have overcome our infantry equipment deficit. We have almost overcome the artillery deficit. I think the other thing I want to do is set up a bit more of an air force. That's 3. Set you all up for air superiority. 1 for you. 1 for you. 1 for you. Alright, who has not had enough air superiority, or not enough close air support yet? And don't worry, these will move automatically, so it doesn't matter that I'm sticking them all in the one airbase. Fentiang's declared war on Shaanxi. Socialist Republic of Italy has capitulated. So I do need to go after Chongqing, because they are now going after Shaanxi. Okay. Off we go. Fentiang declared war on Markleek. So much for the 3-way war. This is going to be the 2-way war. North versus South. See you, Squire. Good luck with the continuing expansion. Really enjoying the playthrough. This has been a great game so far. This really has. You're not at war with them, are you? No. Non-aggression pacts, I think, but not at war. So now to see if the Union of Britain will fall. Did they lose any troops on the continent? No. I don't think they had anyone across. How's your navy looking? I bet that's why you're losing. Yep. So Britain, Fortress Britained up because they just couldn't transport any troops across because they still have the fuel problems, I suspect. If we want to safeguard our regime, we must make things good for our allies and partners. By allowing certain businesses and groups to do practically excise-free reign on certain sectors, we can be sure of their support. Furthermore, they will be much more likely to invest within our borders. Cool. I dread to think what our bonuses are going to be like at the end of this. Tsingtao collaboration. Extreme. We must things good. Looks like your focus advisor has the substance abuser trait as well. Maybe. Ah, you're fully trained. Nice. So are you. You could do with a little bit, so I'm just going to set you to train anyway. Oh yes, and we also need to start actually preparing for this offensive. So let's say that the purples will be responsible for this offensive.
是的，长官。
Then the reds are going to be responsible for this offensive. And the whites are going to help down here. This is going to start out just being these two attacking. The purples are going to hold the line until the whites are done over here. Then I'll shift them over and then have the actual mountaineer units helping out with the purple attack. And in order to not strain my supply situation, there's the warning. We're going to move you away to go and face off against Burma instead. So this is still a massive amount of stuff over here. But most of the infrastructure is actually decent. Between level 3 and level 5. Oh yeah, can I integrate that province? No. So this will never be cored by me, I don't think. Advanced fire bases. And here it is, the last one. Shock and awe. Do it. And the Ottomans have done it. Took 38 states. Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Mashriq, and Libya have been annexed. Ottomans strong. Fentiang seem very threatening to us. We already have 48 units on the frontier here. We're fine. And they're going to be dealing with Markleek for a while. And we can always divert troops if we need to. Like, our army is big now. 154 divisions to their 60. They have 800 planes. No, less. Probably about 800 planes to my 2,000. We're quite significantly stronger than they are at this point. How's their industry looking? About 50 and about 55. 40 and 30. So, no, industrially they are still stronger than us. Although I suspect part of the reason that my industry is not as big as it could be is because I'm investing probably a bit too heavily in infrastructure. So let's get some more civilian factories up and running so that we can actually exploit this massive amount of infrastructure that we've been developing. That to me sounds like a great idea.